Woo, Sessy, Monday night heat in that call. We'll start with a little discussion of Brock Purdy looking Purdy against the Colts, and then we hit the power rankings. Where are our teams, the Jets and the Browns, this week?
Our teams, they are pretty effing low.
We got to change that. We got to get out of that. Let's get into it. Time to heed the call. Hey-oh! Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. Almost. Welcome to Heed the Call, an NFL football podcast. Dan Hanzus here with Marc Sessler, Justin Graver on the ones and twos on a Monday night in late December. It's been a long December, Marc Sessler. And a long NFL season, and we will close the books on Week 16. Today, we'll also hit the power rankings and some juicy news nugs. If you don't know the routine of the Monday night program by now, you're lost.
Yeah, you never will know. And we feel for you that it's taken this long and you still are directionless. But I think many do know, and they know they get where we're going.
You're absolutely right, Mark. And I'm looking forward to seeing where you guys have your power rankings set up, because this NFC West, man, I don't know. I'm sure it's happened. I always say on the show, like, I don't remember when's the last time something like this happened, and then I don't know. There's been a lot of years.
Well, no one else does either, so that's why it works.
The NFC North last year had a pretty stacked.
Okay,
Vikings,
Justin remembers. But
Lions, Packers last year, but yeah.
Yes. So it was last year. 3 tremendous teams. I was going to say by the end of the year, now I'm going to give Justin a super annoying task. Where were those 3 NFC North teams by week 17 of the power rankings last year? Because I'm curious, as we get into the power rankings, I have 3, spoiler alerts, NFC West teams in my top 5. And I want to see where everybody else comes down. Because let's start right there with some NFC West conversation. Let's go to Lucas Oil Stadium, where the story on some level was still supposed to be Phillip Rivers. But then, like, reality took hold, and we got to what it's really about, which is a Super Bowl contender in full flight. The San Francisco 49ers have not asked their punter to do a damn thing this month. Almost every time they get the ball, they're scoring. Ask the Colts, who had no answers for San Francisco's attack in a 48-27 win for the road team at Lucas Oil Stadium on Monday night. Brock Purdy was the star, 25 of 34 for 295. 5 touchdown passes, 1 interception. Christian McCaffrey had another big night with multiple scores. His rushing average looked great for one night at least on the ground. George Kittle was a stud before he got banged up late in this game. Juwan Jennings is making plays. And on a night, Mark, where Phillip Rivers once again exceeded expectations and then some. And it really looked like, 5 possessions into this game, we had 5 scores with Phil Rivers having 2 touchdown passes. You thought you might have one of those kind of special storylines. Instead, that faded away, and the story became the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I feel like there's been this sort of endless discourse about the changing conferences, NFC and AFC. And like in the NFC, it's the Rams, the Seahawks. We're talking about the Bears. And am I wrong to feel like the Niners, because it's kind of like the Niners have been on your dance card for 4 or 5, 6, 7 years at this point. Like, they're a little forgotten in this season of new power. And they look tonight like a team that could go to the Super Bowl. And it's like, wait, what? Like, I forgot they're even involved in this. Not forgot entirely, but like, doesn't it feel like they're a little left out of the discourse and the conversation amongst the new girls at school?
Well, I suppose. I mean, we came into the season, it wasn't just us, fully expecting the 49ers to get their mojo back.
We did.
Getting healthier and having what looked to be an easy schedule, although it didn't actually turn out that way once it all started to shake out. So we expected San Francisco to be a player in the NFC. I think maybe where I do agree with where you're coming from is a lot of focus has been on the Rams and the Seahawks. And San Francisco, meanwhile, was getting plenty of credit from us and other places for, man, look at Kyle Shanahan making do with Mac Jones for a portion of the season, losing Fred Warner, losing all these different star players, Nick Bosa, and plugging and playing and just somehow finding a way to kind of scrape by. And I'm talking about in like September, October, when they were really beat up and things could have went sideways. And that's when coaching really does make a big difference. And you got to do a big shout out to Mac Jones and what he was able to do when he was in the game. But, you know, I got you, Mac. I just gave you love. Hey, you're going to be the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings next year, Mac Jones. Don't you worry. Everything's going to be okay for you. But, you know, now what you see with this team, where they are now, Robert Saleh's got this defense playing at a higher level, and you have Brock Purdy. And I think this is interesting and important when we talk about Brock Purdy, because when Brock Purdy is locked in, as he is tonight, he has a ceiling that not many quarterbacks in the entire league can match, which doesn't seem to make sense because he was a former Mr. Irrelevant, and sometimes he'll have terrible games. Remember the game earlier this year where he had like 3 interceptions in the first 4 possessions, and there was the thought that he was going to get benched. When he is locked in and he's on a heater, as a geriatric millennial, I'll cite the old arcade game, NBA Jam, when you were on fire and
Right.
everything you threw went right in, and it was just like, you're on fire. Like, that's what Purdy is like when he's locked in, and that's something that Mac Jones could never dream of. Like, he doesn't have the ceiling that Purdy does. So if you have Purdy playing this well and this dialed into this Kyle Shanahan offense, it gives them a Super Bowl ceiling. And I think that's what we need to start talking about with the Niners, that they are in the same category as the Rams and the Seahawks and every other favorite that we see as we head down the home stretch.
Yeah, they've been through this before, like where that's not true of this Seahawks team. I would say it is true of the Rams team to some degree, but like I think tonight what mattered was to see Christian McCaffrey have the game he had, where it was like he probably won a bunch of our friends' fantasy matchups, right? But he looked uncoverable. He tied Roger Craig's record for catches in a season by a 49er, which if you're old enough to remember Roger Craig, like that matters. Like that's pretty wild. Like that was an incredible player. And you got George. I know George Kittle got a little banged up in this game. We'll see what's going on with that. But like both of these stars played like that tonight. They played that way. And the quarterback was efficient. And it's like, just don't forget about them, because like, I know they're not going to win the division at this point. I don't think they will, but like,
why not?
They
just got to win 2 more games, and they're the number 1 seed.
I just do think narrative-wise, they've been a little hidden, and that's okay.
Yeah,
they've been a little hidden.
Well, we're not, Sessler, you're not helping the discourse when you're disregarding them as not being a division winner. They have their path.
I don't need them to be. I don't think the bye matters that much this time around. I really don't. Versus other years, I just don't.
The bye and home field, it's golden. I mean, it doesn't mean you're definitely going to get there, but it's a huge deal, I think. And but their road to get there is not easy. So they have on Sunday Night Football, they have the Chicago Bears at home, which is going to be a tough game. That's game they can win, but it's going to be a tough game. And then if they want to win this division, if they want to be the number 1 seed, they have to beat the Seahawks also in their building. So they have 2 home games left. I hope, let's hope that that's the Sunday Night Football finale in the regular season, because that would be a beautiful setup. But that also presupposes the Rams are now not even going to be in the mix for the division down the stretch. Just a lot of crazy stuff going on here. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to like overemphasize it, but like you said that Purdy was efficient. Purdy was more than efficient. Purdy was outstanding in this game. Every throw. I know he threw that interception when the game was already over. That was the only thing that, besides that, every ball he threw, even his incompletions were perfect. The Tongas play where he drags his feet is a wonderful catch also deep in the end zone. And Shanahan's sewn his bag and in such a heater in his own right that they don't even put the red challenge flag down. The next play, Purdy immediately spots a coverage bust and McCaffrey's open in the flat for a touchdown. Every ball he threw was right on the money. And I just think he's such a unique player, Purdy, because he doesn't, to me, pass the sniff test the way those other great guys, the true greats of this league, whether it's Josh or Lamar or Burrow or pick your guy. But when he's like he is tonight, and it happens, and it could happen on a playoff heater as well, you're not beating him. Because when Kyle Shanahan has a guy that knows how to run his offense at the highest levels, the San Francisco offense, the attack, is impossible to stop. After the game, Lisa Salters talked to Purdy about him joining some very special company.
It was also the first time a 49ers quarterback has thrown for 5 touchdowns in 35 years since Joe Montana did it in 1990. What does that mean to you?
I mean, it's an honor to be able to play for this organization with guys like Joe Montana, Steve Young, and to be able to be out here wearing the same uniform. I mean, I'm just a kid living a dream.
Yeah, I think that's like, it's just this team that the fact that your running back tied Roger Craig tonight in terms of catches and your quarterback tied a 35-year-old record from Joe Montana, it's like, just don't forget about the Niners. And
Nope.
and I thought you played a quality opponent tonight. And Phillip Rivers, well, okay, I will say this. I do think the Colts battle, and I will say this, Phillip Rivers to me, I know it wasn't perfect, and we're not looking for perfect. He was about 3 times better than he was a week ago.
Yeah, I thought he played very well. Obviously, the pick 6 sealed their fate, but even that, I think Aikman, just like everybody else, you're rooting for Phil. So some of the analysis seems to almost be colored toward that.
Sure.
He put that entirely on Tyler Warren for turning his head around too soon. But that was what decided the game. But, it was just like, it was kind of like a Disney movie. Like when he goes up and down the field in those first 2 possessions. And again, he's throwing those balloons, but he throws with anticipation, and he was hitting these guys in stride. And it really is it's such a great fun story. I also wonder if it's over. Like, do we want to have this conversation, Mark? Like, they are now, I believe before this game, they had a 3% chance of making the playoffs. Okay.
Yeah.
They've gone from 8-2 to 8-7. And the New York Jets, that draft pick keeps getting better, baby. Now it must be, minuscule. It must be down to 1% chance. At what point do you say, Phil, thank you. This was kind of a Hail Mary, if you will. It didn't work out. We lost these 2 games, and now we're going to get a look at Riley Leonard or even Anthony Richardson. Like, is there anything to gain by playing Phil Rivers at this point beyond just the carnival nature of it all?
I would say because he is remarkably more wisdom-filled and better than either of those 2 other quarterbacks you mentioned. And I don't think you're going to learn a lot about either of those guys over the next 2 weeks. So for me, I'd say, like, you still have a chance, right? Justin knows that
I don't know if you really,
into
that's
the
what I
playoff
just said,
odds,
though. Mark, I think it's like 1% now. I think it's in that realm.
There's a chance. They're chasing the Texans, right, Justin?
Yes, so they are 2 games behind the Texans for the 7 seed right now. And the weird part of this is if they go 2-0 and the Texans go 0-2, which would include the Colts beating the Texans in Week 18. So really, they need to go 1-0. Texans go 0-1, and then beat the Texans. They also then need to win a tiebreaker edge, which is very murky on where that's at. And I've plugged this into multiple different simulators, and I'm reading an article that says something different than what I did. Like,
guys.
From my calculation, I need the Ravens to lose 2 games.
It's 1%.
Got a C3PO over here. I love
it. 1%. The Athletics playoff odds have it at 1% now.
But wait,
It's over,
wouldn't
Johnny.
you not agree that Phillip Rivers gives you also the reporting is people just love this guy?
No,
Like,
I don't.
Go out with him. Not that you're saying not.
Yeah,
to
but
do that,
there's at a certain point, there's nothing to be gained other than the story. There's also the very real possibility still that a 44-year-old man can get seriously hurt. Although I guess we could put that to bed because he's come out of these first 2 games okay. And as you see on the YouTube show, a mom at Lucas Oil Stadium. I love dad bods, number 17. It's a hardcore dad bod he's got, and we respect him for that. I don't know. That's a decision for Steichen and Colts management and Rivers himself. And I think it's a conversation to be had, because we might not think Riley Leonard is worth taking a look at, but there is something to be gained for it. If Richardson is able to get cleared, I don't think so. I mean, I'm not making fun of the guy, but they cut to Richardson on the sideline, and he's got the Ray Charles sunglasses on. And it's like, is he okay? Can he see? Is he going to play football again? Like, what? I know he's returned to practice, but is there any realistic path to him playing at any point this season?
Do we need that? I mean, I don't need that, but like,
I'm sure they would love it. They invested a top 5 pick in the guy.
Rivers feels like a Christmas time, New Year's type of story to me, and it's heartwarming. But that's
kind of had to win one of these 2 games, though. That's the only. I'm not trying to be the Grinch here.
No,
they lost both these games, and now it's all over. And now it's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? But still fun to watch. I think he's easy to root for, and he did. He played well. But the Niners are much.
And one thing to your point, like the Sauce Gardner trade, it like cut to him like giggling on the sideline with a teammate. Like,
bye,
bro. Like, have some meaning in all of this.
Yeah, he's and it's not his fault. He hurt his calf. There's no reason to play him either now, by the way. No. They'd be very wise to shut him down. We've seen it in the NFL and the NBA, guys that come back from calf strains and then they blow their Achilles out. I'd be very careful with Sauce at this point. And that trade, and I'm not just dwelling on it as a Jets fan, but you look back on it now, I believe they were 8-2 when they made that trade, right? And they have lost every game since, and now here they are at 8-7, and what looked to be, you thought you were trading a first-round pick this year that would be anywhere between 28 and 32. Where is Tankathon on this now? Let me check this out. This is all I have left, so just bear with me.
They are 1-5 since trading for Sauce.
Okay, so excuse me. So they've lost 5. They won the first game, and then they've lost 5 in a row. That pick is now all the way up to 18. And the schedule for Indianapolis, that's the last part of this, Mark, with them, even beyond everything else. The schedule is not easy at all. It's home against Jacksonville, and then, as we mentioned, at Houston. So
they're gone.
Hence the 1%.
They're gone.
Okay, one last thing. Just like all of us, Buck and Aikman were enjoying the Phil Rivers spectacle, especially in the first half when the game felt like anything was possible. I enjoyed this little exchange or interplay between the two men in the booth.
He hadn't sat down since he took the field.
If he's wearing like a Whoop or an Oral ring, that thing is going to short out. Like, what are you doing, Phil?
40,000 steps by the time the night's over.
Joe Buck has to have daughters to make the mood ring reference there. That would be my.
He's
only
got
guess.
3 daughters, I believe.
There you go.
Yeah.
But he was, to his credit, Rivers' credit, like, he's not just embraced the challenge. You could tell he's having the time of his life. Like the level of his intensity, and not to pile on Sauce. And I didn't even see the shot that you're referring to, but one guy might be disconnected and half paying attention. Rivers is standing on the sideline, pacing back and forth like a maniac. Can't wait to get back out there. This has been just an incredible rush, I imagine, for the grandpa.
He's a total obsessive, and like, I think it has. Sure, they're going to miss the playoffs, but like, there's something about it that I think for all of us is like, cool. In sports, anything can happen, and this happened.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's take a break, and then when we get back, we'll do some news and then hit the power rankings. Stay right there. All right, Ceci. So lately I've been really into a new ritual of a good cocktail. The shaking, the pouring, the moment to slow down. But I haven't always wanted the alcohol. So I started trying non-alcoholic options, if you'd believe that, buddy. And the one that completely surprised me, bang, RK. They've been leading the zero-proof space for over a decade, created for people who want all the flavor and experience of a cocktail without the alcohol. They're real pioneers in the whole sober curious movement. You're curious, Mark, about a lot of things.
I am. I got a bottle right here of the amazing botanical gin. RK, spelled ARKAY, makes alcohol-free versions of nearly every major spirit: whiskey, tequila, gin, rum, vodka, even amaretto. 0 alcohol, 0 sugar, 0 calories, but somehow, I love it, it still tastes like the real thing. Their patented warm molecule gives you the burn effect, that smooth, warm kick you expect from alcohol without a single drop of it in.
Yeah, I recently tried, as I said, the RK's vodka in my classic Gruden. And wow, if I didn't make it myself, I would have never guessed it was non-alcoholic. The aroma, the flavor, that little kick, it's all there. And with over 20 flavors, there's something for every cocktail lover.
Yeah, investors, influencers, and millions of fans are joining the RK Zero Proof revolution, and the warm molecule is changing the game with the holiday season, and dry January is here. There's no better time to try RK Zero Proof, your favorite cocktails made non-alcoholic.
Oh my God, a January without a hangover? Feed it to me. RK is available at Walmart, Amazon, or at rkbeverages.com. That's ARKAY beverages.com. All right, we are back. Yes, power rankings coming up. But first, let's get caught up on some news.
You know, even though that hurts going down, you can't spit it out. You have to swallow it. That's the truth.
Oh. Hi, the Irishman, Sean Payton. Life lessons. Lewd life lessons with Sean Payton.
I called him an Irishman, and then it was questioned.
It was questioned, but you know what? I asked our producer to get a little background, and he spit out some AI slop at me. And while I tend to probably feel confident that what the AI fed back to me via our producer, that he does come from strong Irish Catholic roots, I have that much respect for Connor and what he does for a living as a journalist to not just throw that in Connor's face on the show. Especially Connor's like an Irish guy, and he, you know, that it felt like a little.
I don't know why we're holding Irish people up higher than anyone else. Like, you're a little bit Irish. I've got some Irish in me. Like, why? Like, what are we doing here?
What do you have against Irish people? What?
I have nothing against them.
Also, what are you even tracking anything I'm saying, Sessler? I'm talking about AI. I'm not talking about Irish.
Oh,
people.
I'm with you on the AI front. That I think we should.
No, but now I'm more interested in this. What's your anti-Ireland take? Go ahead.
Everybody.
Like 13% of our audience, perk your ears up. Sessler's going to continue on.
No, I am part and parcel of the Irish creed. I've got some Irish blood in me.
You sound very English right now, the way, you know, Mr. I
probably
grew up
more
in
English.
Surrey. Okay, now it makes sense. Okay.
Well, what are you? What's happening here in general with the? What are we? We're forming teams, and
we are. Yes, I love the English as well, but it seems like you've chosen a side here, and that's okay. That's fine.
I respect all. Everyone is the same to me. I don't see any differences between people. So
you're all good. You've done it again, Sess Dog. All right, let's get into it. DK Metcalf, you fucked up. You fucked up really bad. The Steelers wide receiver, and we talked about this on the Sunday show. Mike Florio was on national television saying, like, oh, you know, past precedent says this will just be a fine. No, bro. Like, go watch the video. He pulls a fan towards him and then takes a swing at him. This wasn't going to be a fine. This was going to be a suspension. Now, did I think it was going to be a multiple game suspension? That surprised me a little bit. The Steelers wide receiver was suspended 2 games without pay by the NFL for what is called conduct detrimental to the NFL for initiating a physical confrontation with a fan during Sunday's game at Ford Field in Detroit. This is a rough one for obviously the Steelers, who are trying to close out the AFC North, and now they're without their top wide receiver for the final 2 games of the regular season. He will appeal. We'll see if he can cut down the suspension, but don't expect it. It's a bad look for the NFL when a star player or any player is attacking a fan over, I don't know. It's always floating out there, and you know how these things tend to go, but as we heard yesterday, he was mocking DK's birth name, and that was enough to get DK fired up because that had happened in a previous game that he had been in Detroit or something like that. Anyway, Metcalf will forfeit $555,000 for the 2 games. And this one's crucial, Sessy, because the reporting out there on Monday night is on top of that, that conduct detrimental allows the Steelers to get off the hook for an enormous amount of previously guaranteed money. What is something, Justin, can you look that up? It's something like $40 million in guarantees. So if the
I saw conflicting reports. I saw 45 million and I saw 40 million. So in the rundown, I wrote over 40 million just to be safe.
So it gives the Steelers that option to bail if they want to. I think on balance, he's been a good part of their offense and a good soldier this year. But this is something that, the Steelers might have in their bag if they choose to go in another direction now. Just a really, really tough turn of events for Metcalf, and he has no one to blame but himself.
Well, and to lose him I know you're playing the Browns in Cleveland on Sunday. That's not a challenge. You'll probably win that on some level. But the Ravens after that, to wipe him out for the rest of the regular season, I tend to think that with an appeal, this goes down to one game. I just tend to think. Now, Tom Pelissero reported that there was a previous encounter when DK was with the Seattle Seahawks a year ago with this exact same fan. So there is it's weird. This is very weird, right, Dan? But there's a history in theory between DK Metcalf and this fan.
To which I say, who gives a shit? So?
I agree. I think the player is the one that's responsible to not respond to anything, but it is messy. It is a human being, but 2 games feels, just because I think the punishment for these things have been all over the map. Has it been, did we know it would be 2 games? It surprises us, right?
No, that's what I said. I said I thought it would be a suspension. 2 games did surprise me. It could be cut in half on an appeal. Chad Ochocinco has a podcast, and he said on the podcast that DK Metcalf, I guess, told him that there were some racial comments made in the back and forth. Also some comments about DK's mom. Now, I don't know. Who knows? It's a he said situation. Of course, that would be something. You remember the Myles Garrett incident with Mason Rudolph years back, where those accusations could be made, and then you wonder if it's made after the fact to try to justify the behavior, or whether it actually happened. We don't know. But ultimately, the bottom line is he took a swing at a fan, and he's going to pay for it, and so are the Steelers. And it's an unfortunate situation.
You can't do it. As unfair as it feels, because he does a ton of work around Pittsburgh and stuff too, even in this first season. But you can't do it.
Unfair. It's not, it's he earned the suspension. It's just dumb, man. In other news, one other news item before we get to the power rankings: the Chiefs are leaving Missouri. How about that? For Kansas. I imagine, because this is going to be confusing for a lot of people, including people in America that don't live in the middle of the country.
On that border.
I'm sure, especially like our international audience is like, wait, the Kansas City Chiefs don't live in Kansas? No, guys and gals. The Kansas City is in Missouri. But the team announced Monday that they will leave their longtime home at Arrowhead Stadium for a new $3 billion domed stadium that will be built across the Kansas-Missouri state line and will be ready for 2031. I just want to say one thing about this, and this comes on the heels of Connor's reporting with Gil Manzano for SI about the Bears talking about maybe going to Indiana because Chicago's not working with them on a replacement for Soldier Field. Have you noticed that there's every stadium design looks exactly the same now?
We're back in the 70s then.
We're back in the 70s.
Yep.
If you know, when there was the stadium boom in America in the 70s, it was the rage to build these all-purpose stadiums that were turf, and a lot of them were both for the NFL team and the Major League Baseball team in the city. And eventually in the 90s and 2000s, a lot of those stadiums went the way of the dodo bird, and with good reason. They were ugly, like cement and steel eyesores, and a lot of cities built these new facilities that are beautiful, except for the Jets and Giants, which said we're going to double down and build the ugliest stadium possible in 2009 or whatever it was. But everyone else has built these new state-of-the-art stadiums. I'll just say the only thing that is a little annoying is they all look at I think there's a tweet out there, if we could find it, Justin. There's a everything is exactly the same shape. It has the glass ceiling with the scoreboard that is in the round, like I think it was the Falcons that maybe had the first one. And we don't have to do that either. Like, can we just, come on, bring something new to your cities. Be original. That's my only take on this. And I imagine there are people that are passionate, Ceci, about the Missouri-Kansas thing, and I respect it. But my biggest take is, if you're going to build a new Arrowhead, make it different than any other stadium, not just a carbon copy of the last 8 that have been built in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, it's like Frank Lloyd Wright has left the picture. We get that. I will say one thing about this particular move. Kansas City, Kansas. And you're right, because I learned this when I was about 24 years old, that there was a Kansas City, Kansas and a Kansas City, Missouri. They're about a mile and a half away from each other. So it's not like they're moving to, 50 miles away into the middle of another state. I had a friend that in his earlier years lived in Kansas City, Missouri, but was an Applebee's server in Kansas City, Kansas. And I reached out to him tonight just to say, what was the commute like?
What did he have to say? I got to hear this.
Yeah, I was like, what was the commute like? He said, look, it was about 14 minutes to just get over there to Applebee's to serve. I've got my flair on. Like, he was dating a girl that he served with. They had a lot of adventures in Kansas City, Kansas, but then he'd go home to Kansas City, Missouri. So it was pretty fluid. Like, I'm just saying it's not like a jarring, we're not moving the Browns to Baltimore here.
Right. So that's where I come down to. But let's make the stadium look different.
That would be nice.
Do it. It should be a civic treasure, and each one should be its own beautiful butterfly.
Well, you are right about the Jets and Giants Stadium. I don't know what the planning was there.
It's a damn sardine can in the middle of a swamp. Way to go, guys. All right. That's what's happening in the news. All right, it's time. Let's go. Let's go right to the power rankings.
Look at us.
Unless you've got power!
Farbuck.
With great power comes great responsibility.
They got powers, yeah.
Then when you get the money, you get the power.
Category orange incident.
The power behind the power.
Now you're playing with power.
According to the Dan Hanzus power ranking.
Thank you, Paul Rudd. Still no sign of Farbuck, and that's a good thing. The Call power rankings, the power rankings of record. All 4 of us, that being Dan, Mark, Justin, Connor, we file our rankings and then we put it together in a big blender and come out with the definitive top 32 in football. I'm very curious if I'm alone. I believe I'm going to be alone on this island. But when we're going to start with a little bit of a window rattler at number 1, I think. Let's bring up the first tier. Okay. No. Good job, Connor Orr. All right, so I understand that the Seahawks beat the Rams in fantastic circumstances on Thursday Night Football in Seattle. I still think the Rams are the best team in football, as does Connor Orr. He keeps them at number 1. Justin and Mark dropped them a spot after that big division showdown, but they remain number 1 in the power rankings. And Mark, I know Seattle fans are going to be pissed about that, but this isn't just about it. Just because one team beats another in a back and forth game that goes down to the final seconds doesn't mean necessarily that team's better. They were better in that moment, but that's not what the power rankings are about.
Well, okay, we're not framed. It's not just because that happened. I feel ready to put them in that position. And so I think between 2 and 1, it's very close. I tussled with this, but I feel very comfortable putting them at number 1. But overall, the Rams stay in the overall top position. So you won out. You and Connor won out.
I'm very happy that it worked that way because I think a lot of reactionary power rankings out there will just be like, oh, they won. They're number 1 now.
We're already on to the PR front of this entire exercise.
And yet our rankings, thanks to Connor and I, have a broader view of the league. So
sure, that's how let's frame it that way and see who is mentally soft enough to accept that.
The Seattle Seahawks, yes, are indeed number 2. They get 2-1-2-1 in the group of 4. All right, now number 3. Okay, the Buffalo Bills. They stay at number 3. They had to grind one out in Cleveland. I thought they would get dinged because of that. Sessler was just on absolute fire on text, burying the Bills, and then he has them at number 3 in the rankings. I can't figure, Justin, I can't figure out, Mark. I just don't. There's like 2 Sesslers. There's the guy on text and then there's a guy on the show. And I want these guys to meet at some point. How come you don't have the Bills further down where you basically already announced them on text as cannon fodder come January?
I think what I was trying to say overall, and I may not have done an effective job of that, is that the Bills to me feel susceptible to kind of not showing up for quarters in a row. Do I think at the height of their powers, they're the 3rd best team? Yes, I do. But I just think that they're a little bit of a weird team that, like, you can't count on it on any given day for 4 quarters. And the Cleveland game is kind of like, they seem like they're going to look past people a little bit. And there we go. But I think they're better than the rest of these teams.
Yes, Justin.
I think to some level, I understand what Mark's saying is like the Bills were maintaining a good enough lead that they never had to reach into their bag to like be special. And if the Browns had like suddenly, surprisingly taken a late lead, the Bills would have been like, okay, let's kick it on.
But Mark was also crushing them during the Browns game too.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean.
Well, hold on. From a human angle, I'm a little over everyone. I feel like safe whites love the Bill. It's like the Bills are a safe, easy team to love. And so
ask Bills fans if the Bills are an easy team to love.
I'm not saying that it is for Bills fans, but it's just like we're going to cling on to this idea that they're just going to run the AFC.
You got them at number 3. That's my point exactly. If you actually have doubts about the Buffalo Bills, it should be reflected in the power rankings. I feel like I'm making sense here, but
but again though, then it's like the rest of these teams I don't think there is a number 3 in this league. The way
you're the white that's being safe, I guess, is the point that I'm.
Because Dan and I both have the Bills lower than 3. But the other question I have for Mark, I guess we can wait till we get to this team. But there is another team who sort of struggled to beat a bad team that they should have blown out, played with their food or whatever. And Mark dropped them massively in the rankings, and he didn't give the Bills the same treatment. So no spoilers, but we'll get there when we get there.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Well, let's move on, and we'll get to that when we get to that. Up next,
what a show.
The Jacksonville Jet. Well, listen, the power rankings, especially the way we do them, because they're at the highest level of the art form. It's not, the process isn't, picking dandelions in the field, Mark?
Nor am I picking dandelions in the fields.
I'm saying there's sometimes hard conversations are had, and it's all done out of love and respect. It's just, I'm glad that we're here. And the audience that's watching and listening is like, wow, it's like we're inside the mind of this great power rankings machine. What a treat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I know that they're thankful for the experience. So,
all right, number 4, the Jaguars are up 6 spots. How about love for the Jacksonville Jaguars, led by the old Zeuser and Justin Graver, who had him all the way up to number 3. Mark has him at 6, Connor at 7, still reserving a little bit of judgment, but still, they come up 6 spots. Is that the biggest jump of the week, Mark? Justin, excuse me.
It is tied for the biggest jump of the week.
All right, okay. Very good. Speaking of jumps, the New England Patriots, they jump up 1 spot. Their comeback win over the Baltimore Ravens in Sunday Night Football gets them into the top 5. I have them at 6. Mark has them at 5. Connor at 5. Justin at 7. Justin, 7 is probably where people thought I was going to put them, but you put them at 7. Tell us why.
Yeah, so I toyed with my rankings 3 through 7 quite a bit, and ultimately I just decided I wanted to reward teams that I have more fun watching, and right now that includes the Jags, the Bears, who we'll get to in a sec, and a couple other teams. So I was like, I had the Patriots at 5 in multiple iterations, and I just kept tweaking, and they ended up at 7. It is what it is. The Ravens aren't good. Let's acknowledge the Patriots had an awesome comeback win against a cooked team that's bad.
Yeah, and I kind of wish...
mental processing is stunning. Let's start there.
It's like Steve Young at his peak. No, I wish I would have at least mentioned that a little bit, but I'm sure Patriots fans would have been furious with me if I did, and which makes me wish I would have done it more. But as we were like throwing these bouquets at the feet of the Patriots on Sunday night, like it's this Ravens team that nobody believed in, that weren't even a winning team, that lost their quarterback in the second quarter. I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I mean? It's just like we get caught up. You want to talk about like safe whites, or listen, safe of any color in Creed, Mark. And shame on you, tisk tisk, especially after the English Irish thing earlier.
Okay.
Like, you know, I forgot what I was saying. All
Well,
right,
you accomplished your point right there. I think so. We're good.
No, the point being that, you know, safe whites or any color. We're still kind of the echo chamber of the Ravens being awesome for like 10 straight years or whatever. And the idea of winning in Baltimore in prime time means more in our minds in terms of what the last 10 years of pro football have, rather than what it actually means in 2025. But that's hard. That's hard to separate from. But you give credit to both sides of that Patriots ball for closing that game out beautifully. And I think they are a force, and they deserve to be where they are. Number 6 is the Chicago Bears, up 2 spots after their stirring comeback on Saturday night against the Packers. 16-6. They're down with 2 minutes to play. They win 22-16 in overtime. I think Bears fans, Mark, might even expect them to be higher here, because it's like they keep on,
I think so too,
slaying giants and passing tests. But I get a little bit hung up. And again, I had them at 9, so that I'm, I guess, a little bit of a holdout, because I am thinking about the Bears that were down 16-6 with 2 minutes to go. So like the first 58 minutes of the game, which, by the way, was a game in which Jordan Love didn't play for most of it after a couple of cheap shots on that quarterback, I thought. So credit to the Bears, but also they're just out of my tier 1 personally, but they're in the tier 1 collectively.
I get where you're coming from. I've been there up until this week. I just remember like, you get like the Red Sox team from like 1989 or something that like comes back from 18 games down and gets into the playoffs. Like they just feel like they overcome challenges week after week. And so putting them at 4 where I put them, is it a little rich? Possibly. But again, the community of teams around them, I have no problem doing that. They just keep winning.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about the cardiac Bears and all the fun, and Caleb Williams. Yeah, they're fine. Where they are is number 6, and
Justin
and that's
agrees.
Fair. Yes, Justin also had them at number 4, but they're number 6 in our rankings. Number 7 is the Niners. This surprised me a little bit. I love what I'm seeing from San Francisco, because they, like we said at the top of the show, we don't have to dwell here because we talked a lot about the Niners earlier, but I had them at 5. Mark and Justin had them at 8. Connor has them all the way outside the top 10 at 11. It's another team that's passing every test, and now as they've gotten healthier, are showing you their ceiling offensively, which is as high as anyone in the league. I think they're an easy pick for the top 8, even if Connor disagrees, and maybe we'll get into that on Wednesday.
This is the first time the Jags have jumped the Niners, reigniting the little wedding gift bet that me and Connor made months ago.
Yeah, tell the audience, what was that wager again?
Okay, so Connor held up 2 envelopes. He said this is, or 3 envelopes. He said, if we don't bet, you get the standard gift that I give all my friends when I go to their wedding. If we make this bet and I win, I give you this little bitty wedding gift that's much lower than what I would normally get. And if you get it right, then you get this super awesome wedding gift that is way more than I would normally get.
And get what right? What was the actual,
The bet was, I said that the Jags should have been ranked ahead of the 49ers because we were coming off an early game in the season where the Jags just beat the 49ers.
Right.
And Connor said that's not necessarily how it always works, just because you beat a team, as you've said many times. It doesn't necessarily. So Connor says if the Niners are ranked ahead of the Jags at the end of our season power rankings, he wins. If the Jags finish the season in our rankings ranked ahead of the Niners, I win. And here we are with 2 weeks to go. We finally got some Jags momentum. Come on, baby.
What a beautiful and dumb wager, Mark.
Yeah, it's convoluted, but Connor himself, with his own actions, has the Jaguars at 7 and the Niners at 11. So He's basically shipping that gift to you, barring.
He's a class act,
change.
ultimately. Number 8 and the last team in this Tier 1, which have been renamed largely, Mark, for week 17. Tier 1 is Super Bowl's in here somewhere.
Bingo.
The Denver Broncos down 4 spots after, obviously, a very disappointing one-sided thumping at home by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they essentially switch residences within the power rankings, more or less, with the Jags moving into the top 5 and the Broncos now at the bottom of Tier 1. That is well earned. And I think a perfect spot, Mark, because it's like, listen, when you win 11 in a row, you deserve a little bit of grace if you have a bad day. But at the same time, that was a bit of an illuminating loss if you choose, you could start turning over some rocks if you want when you see a loss like that.
You're waiting with these new teams for something that confirms your doubt, and maybe that did that for some of the Broncos observers, and the reverse for the Jaguars.
All right, that's Tier 1. Before we get to Tier 2, Tier 3, and Tier 4, let's take a break. Stay right there. Hey, Sessy, you know that feeling when the stage is set and every play counts? That's exactly what the college football playoffs bring. Every snap, every drive, every touchdown. Sessy, we're getting these texts from you on Saturdays about how much you love college ball now. It's edge of your seat excitement, so I know you're affected.
That's right. I've been getting more into college football this season. It's a new thing for me. And DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting, puts you right at the heart of it.
And I know I don't respond to many of those texts, Mark, but just know when I read them, I think to myself, wow, Mark's enjoying the college football today. Good for him. So you can make real-time wagers as the action unfolds. Ride the highs of a game-winning drive like Sessy on a Saturday and feel the thrill. Saturdays for the boys, Mark, and feel the thrill of season-defining moments all from your phone. Honestly, it makes watching the game feel even more alive.
Yes, it makes me feel more alive. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code HTC. That's code HTC for new customers to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer.
All right, we are back. Oh, very spirited Tier 1 discussion, Sessy. Let's now move to Tier 2, which we had to rename. We thought the Pretenders name was a little bit unfair to the teams harsh on the top end. So Tier 2 is now called Good is the Enemy of Great.
That works.
Starting with the Houston Texans. Wait a second. Sessler, I don't understand you. I don't understand you. Because the Texans and the Bills played the same game in Week 16. They both played dog shit teams, played the game closer than it should have been, both won. The Bills get a total pass, a team that you have been on record behind the scenes not believing in. They move up in your rankings, sit at number 3, and the Texans plummet down to 12, and as a result, they leave the top 8. I had them at 7. Connor had them at 8. Justin had them at 6. All of us had them in Tier 1, but you plop them at 12 and crater them. What is up with that?
And he had them at 7 last week, so he dropped them 5 spots for a win.
Well, one thing, it's not just simply the Texans, it's the other teams around them.
Farbuck.
Like satellites. So we've got to look at it that way.
Sure, we did. The rest of us did, yes.
You can point your finger at me, but I think I view them as a plain team. They're plain.
Man. Jeez,
they're just plain
Mark.
to me.
We can't be saying that.
But number 9
We're trying to be respected here, Mark. They've won 7 straight games. They're playing out of their minds defensively. C.J. Stroud has really come back from that injury and played at a high level. They're passing every test, and they have a chance to win that division. They could potentially win 12 games.
I put them behind, we'll get to this, but I put them behind the Chargers, which I agree with. I had to go look at the entire AFC, and I'm comfortable with where I put them. I think they're still a playoff team. They could win a playoff game, but I don't need to shoot them up the board at this point. I think they are compromised in certain areas that will cost them.
Okay.
I can get not fully buying their offense against playoff defense.
Oh, Justin is going to not be totally behind an AFC South team? That's not
I
the
have
Titans.
them at
Keep
6
going.
and the Jags at 3, so thank you very much. No bias here. I'm just saying if that's the reason Mark has them at 12, I can at least buy where he's coming from.
I can't. Plain. Their uniforms are ugly. Is that factoring in? I agree.
No.
NRG Stadium, not the best place to play football. Is that what it's about?
I just think they've got a dominant defense, which I like, and that's why they sit in my playoff realm. I don't buy them winning a certain type of game they might have to play. Will I be wrong? Probably. Have I been wrong about most things? Yes.
Number 10 is the Philadelphia Eagles, beating up on some bottom feeders, getting some confidence back. They come in at number 10. I have them at 11. Ceci at 9. Connor has them at 4. Oh, man. We're really begging. Do we miss Farvik? Is that what's happening here? How far did he have the Eagles jump up because they beat the Commanders?
Well, this was the whole thing last week, is that he had them at 5, while the rest of us had them at 13 and 12.
Okay. Conviction.
All right. Okay. And Justin had him at 11. They come in at 10, up 2 spots. At number 11, this one might seem a little unfair because they're speaking of teams that are passing every test. The Los Angeles Chargers, they stay at 11 after another win. And, what are you going to do? I mean, they're just passing every test, but maybe they're a little plain too, Mark. Maybe some people just don't like their style.
Well, I think I would say that they've affected me because of their injuries, which we talked about a bunch. Like, they keep gritting out these wins. So I believe in the Chargers. I don't know how much, though. Like, they're all a lot of plain is fair. Am I totally crazy? Like, they're just sort of there in the AFC, and we'll see if they can change my opinion.
The Green Bay Packers down 3 spots after that heartbreaker against the Bears. I had them down at 12. Justin and Connor have them at 13. Mark has them at 10. Yeah, I just think these have been tough losses. I feel like the Parsons injury, now you lose Jordan Love. And as we look ahead to week 17, it's early, obviously, we'll find out. But Love's in concussion protocol, and Malik Willis also has a shoulder injury. Yeah. So we don't know what the Packers are going to have a quarterback with 2 games to go. Number 13, our Twilight Zone team. We're pretty locked in on this one. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I have them at 13. Mark has them at 13. There you go, Sess. Connor has them at 14. Justin has them at 12. They're up 1 spot. I think it's a perfect spot for the Steelers, Mark, because we all acknowledge they've done a really good job dusting themselves off and playing much better football after things kind of bottomed out a few weeks back. But at the same time, what does that mean? Like, they're a perfect example of good is the enemy of great. It's fair to wonder if they are a real team when it's nut cutting time.
Yeah, they're the banner of this fleet of teams. But when you and I agree, we can just waltz on and say we nailed this. So.
No, absolutely. That's right. It's correct. Number 14. This one's kind of sad. I'm kind of bummed out about the 2025 Detroit Lions. They are not going to make the playoffs. They cannot win 2 games in a row, and now they've lost 2 in a row. And we're all pretty much in lockstep. They're down 1 spot. The Panthers. I know Panthers fans are saying, come on, we're at number 15. We're going to win our division. Well, remember the division you're in. Also remember that the majority of their victories have been by 3 points or less. They play a lot of close games. To their credit, they've won a lot of those close games. But this feels fair when you look at the Panthers, Mark, in the whole of the NFL, not just the division in which they are edging out some other teams that are going in the wrong direction.
One of the worst divisions. We've seen a couple of these. And in fact, I think the Panthers were that team that went, 7-8-1 and played the Cardinals in the playoffs, where you and I watched that together. They've got a knack for this, but let's not act like the NFC South needs to be thrust into the top 10 here. I
Yeah,
don't buy
the top NFC South team at number 15 seems fair. The Ravens also, they're just a middle-of-the-road team, to the point we were making about the Patriots comeback. This is a middle-of-the-road team that stinks at home, that has had a bad season overall, and also very unlikely to make the playoffs, down one spot to 16. All right, so Tier 2, good is the enemy of great. Tier 3, the infinite abyss. Okay, so this is like you're not in the worst. You're not the dregs, Ceci, right? But you're just kind of like floating away.
Yeah, was it the space film where Clooney, I believe, was in it, and then at one point his oxygen pipe,
Is it The Martian?
I don't know, just disconnects from a spaceship and floats away into space. Like, that's these guys.
Yeah,
that's the one that won an Oscar. It's like a one-act play. Sandra Bullock is in it, and I thought it should never have won. What's it called? I don't remember.
Was it The Martian?
No, it's the one that the Roma director directed it.
Right.
I don't recall it being a one-act play. It was like a 2.5-hour movie, but sure.
Right, but structurally, I was in film school at this time and very full of myself, and I never bought into.
Mark,
yes, you
Mark,
were.
he was taught about this in film school, so
I will cease to discuss the film at this point. So.
Exactly.
But maybe we can get the name of the film for the people that might be. Is it Interstellar?
Nope.
Nope.
That was Nolan.
I'll work on that. You guys go.
All right, great. The Infinite Abyss, which also could be. I don't want to put any ideas in Sessler's head about the theme of the week for
Gravity.
Week 16. Gravity. I like that movie a lot, actually. But the Infinite Abyss is kind of in line with Sessler's themes of the week. These are just teams that are floating away. The Vikings, number 17. The Cowboys down another spot to 18. The Bengals up 6 spots, but don't read into us like falling in love with the Bengals. This is just a very, very uninspired group of teams. And obviously they lit up the Dolphins, who some of us were trying to prop up as a team that mattered a couple of weeks back. But they're up 6 spots, tied for that biggest jump of the week with the Jaguars. The Bucs continue their free fall, down 1 spot to 20. The Colts, after a nice first half, I guess. I mean, that's the other thing about the Colts, Mark. Like, how pitiful was their defense in that game? I mean,
ridiculous.
That was... And I know, like, that, I don't want to take credit away. It's almost not fair to say how unstoppable Brock Purdy is when he's locked in and then say, look how bad the defense is. But I don't know. You figure kind of in your building with the season on the line, you might have some answers. It just wasn't a good look for anybody.
Your plan was to have Charvarius Ward and Sauce Gardner dominating at the corner spot. You have neither.
Yeah. Number 22 is the Falcons, up 2 spots after beating the dog shit Cardinals. Number 23 is the Saints. I'm a little surprised they're not higher in our list, especially Ceci. You have them at 25 like I do. I know I feel like you've been falling for them a little bit, but again, within the context of the division they play, this is probably fair. Number 24.
They were at like 31 for like 12 weeks in my
rankings, that's a nice little march up the board in our power rankings. Number 24 is the Dolphins, down 1 spot. And now tier 4, yes, as we all know, it is the shit pit. And credit to the grave digger. He has shit pit hyphenated and, crucially for our business interests, trademarked.
Absolutely.
You cannot, and let this be this is your verbal warning. Do not dare. You could start a power rankings if you want. We don't give a shit. Everybody else tries to do it. We just have the best one. But do not dare call tier 4 of your power rankings the shit pit, or we will get after your ass like hammerhead sharks.
We'll get legal. We have lawyers. We've got agents and managers. We're powerful.
And just to cover us, last week, I know we rolled it out without the trademark symbol there, but actually after recording, I put up my original version so the audience could experience it. But then after you pointed out the mistake, I corrected what went out to the people last week. So we've been trademarked for 7 days now, so we're good.
Thank you for all that information, Justin. Number 25 is the Chiefs. How about this? The Kansas City Chiefs in the shit pit, down 4 spots and now down to their 3rd.
Wait, Connor has them at 32.
I have a message to read from Connor. First of all, in the power rankings that he sent me, he called them...
This isn't the shit pit. This is the shit stir, Connor Orr.
In the rankings he sent me, he didn't even call them the Kansas City Chiefs. He writes out team name and mascot for all of them. And he wrote Topeka Chiefs, and then a message that I'm supposed to pass on. Only calling the Chiefs different names of cities in Kansas, and I'm ranking them last in the power rankings this week for leaving Missouri.
Okay.
Well, does that fit your standards, Dan? I get a lot of lectures
it's
here. Like, that feels a
incredibly
little
irresponsible.
avant-garde.
It's incredibly irresponsible to what our mission statement is here. And if Farbeck catches wind of this, that could be a code red because he's taking personal issues and dragging it into the discourse about the team, about the business decisions made about where the team plays. It's just not how we operate around here. And there will be a conversation behind the scenes.
There should be. Is Connor, like, the way I think about Connor, because his team moving from geographical point A to B, his story with Gilbert got upended. Is he annoyed that it's been upended by the Chiefs suddenly doing their own little territorial move?
That could be it, I should say. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
But you putting that out there is fair. It's fair to wonder if he's concerned that his thunder has been stolen in this realm of reporting.
I mean, in that story, that the Bears story, like, took over multiple countries, countryside. So
unbelievable. That absolutely feels like a possibility. The Commanders at 26, the Cardinals at 27. Now our fair teams, the Titans up 2 spots to number 28. Good job, Tennessee. The Cleveland Browns up 2 spots.
What did they do?
You know what? I get it. They really fought the Bills hard, and you don't have to do much to move up in the shit pit, Mark. You know that. So they're up 2 spots to 29. The Giants down 2 spots to 30. The Jets down 2 spots to 31. And the Raiders down 32. Did we have any Connect Fours this week, Justin?
Sadly, we did not. I mean, we should have had at least the Raiders, but Connor's little game.
Connor didn't even have them at 31. He's got the Jets and the Chiefs as worse than the Raiders now.
Can I play the sound just to play it because I like it and we didn't get a chance to?
That's up to, I mean, I'll leave that up to Mark because I know Mark has an issue with the drop. Mark, you decide.
Well, you could play it, sure. It's just a sound.
Love it.
We didn't achieve it, though. So.
Yeah, but you say that, Mark. But then, I try to eat a sandwich around you and you recoil in horror. So that's just a sound,
That's
too.
a very different... I've done some research on that. That's a very different malady for a human than just a simple digital sound.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Coming up, it's Christmas week, as we all know. So a little bit of a different schedule here. The next time you hear from us, it will be a day. Well, it won't be a day earlier. It will just be a different show. No end around this week. We will have, though, the week 17, can you believe it, preview that will get to you on Wednesday, on Christmas Eve. So you'll have that for wherever you're going for the holidays. Will be in your ears and in your hearts if you choose to let us go there. And then everything else will be the same after that. You'll get the draft over on Patreon. You'll get the full recap of all the games on Sunday. And no, we are not doing a Friday morning special recap of Christmas Day because the NFL can do a lot of things, but they can't find a way to not have multiple third-string quarterbacks playing across that date in games that largely are meaningless. So we will kick those games to our Sunday night recap just so you're a heads up so you're not looking for it on Friday.
Well, I think it's a sound judgment by us, and we're treating our fans with intelligence and respect.
Well said, Mark. Beautifully said. And thank you to everybody for your continued support of our program. It means the world to us. And we will see you on Christmas Eve. Till then, heed the call.